Yes.
Simpson?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Ordinance number 18-0-2980, first reading. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with United Healthcare for the purpose of providing health insurance benefits for full-time employees of the city of Columbiana.
Move. Second.
Any comments?
I think the chief is going to speak to this.
Basically, I'm trying to answer any questions based on what you were. In fact, I sit on the Health Insurance Committee. None of my colleagues are here tonight, but Mr. Gearhart is here. If you have technical questions that are beyond my ability to answer, but just to tell you a little bit about the deliberation process within the Health Insurance Committee, the original charge, of course, being to try to maintain a level of benefits that is similar to what we've maintained for our employees to take care of them, while at the same time looking for opportunities to reduce costs and to save as much money as possible. And a number of factors went into the recommendation that was unanimous from the Health Care Committee. One of those being that the apostrophe plan, we haven't really heard of them before, but they were significantly less in terms of the benefits offered, and it put much more of a burden on the employees individually than the United Healthcare plan did. Also, we felt that it probably was a low ball offer in terms of some people will give you a very low ball offer to try to break into the market, and then you have problems. We also did some research and found that there were a number of reports of incidents of problems with ER bills, particularly with that particular company, if you look up a number of the online resources that look at that. Also, there were a couple of employees lasered out of there. I defer to Bob on the layman's definition of being lasered out. It has to do with the higher level of usage of the plan, and they're sometimes cut out of the coverage because of the higher level of usage. The other thing is the United Healthcare would result in no hiccups and problems like we had last year with changing to a new company and certain doctors being dropped and certain people with critical needs in terms of medication or care having problems getting that covered. Also, United Healthcare, based on our input from Gearhart's and their agency, we had nothing to agree with cap last year, not to exceed cap. They told us it would be, I think it was $263,000 more a year, but the cap that they agreed to capped it well below that, as you can see that. So there is that savings there to keep it at the same level with the minimum amount of increase. I think you also probably got a thing on industry trends, and the industry trends, we've been able to contain the cost fairly well based on what's happening out in the industry. And so for those reasons, the Healthcare Committee felt that the United plan was a better choice, and that the increase was something that was largely industry and experience-based thing that was probably not able to be reduced by much more than that while maintaining a similar level of benefits. I try to answer any question.
And one thing I want to add, Bob notified me tonight that on the Anthem plan, we asked for any kind of a guarantee that there would be a cap. We could cap it for next year, and they came back and said no. They said they would give no guarantee of a cap.
We felt that was kind of further evidence that it was probably a low ball offer, because without the cap, that we don't know what will happen next.
Bob, is the benefit plan changing any, or
no?
The plan is the same as the employees had the previous year?
Yes.
Same benefit structure?
Yes.
Did we shop at all for higher deductible plans like we used to have? Before we made the switch from private to, from basically self-funding to funding through private companies, there was a deductible, and due to the price drop initially several years ago, it was agreed to go to a zero deductible just because of the price difference in the savings. But now that the price has gone up, did we reshop it with the higher deductible that used to be there? Or?
Yeah, and typically what employers do is they will make the decision to look at things in incremental steps. chief said, our task every year is preserve benefit, lowest acquisition cost. That's our task. The richest plan that Anthem offers happens to be called Option 1 PPO, and it includes a deductible comparable to what you had back before we took over pre-2013, $250, $500. Arguably still a low deductible. So there are deductibles. How high do you want to go? Do you want to go from 0 to 500 and 1,000? Do you want to go from 0 to 1,000, 2,000? If you simply do the math on the deductibles and the out-of-pocket maximum. Look, not everybody's going to hit it, but we do have at least 5 people that are hitting it every year. If you do the math on it, you are shifting costs to the employees, and no matter how you slice it, it's fit. Look, the rates are the rates. Theoretically, every carrier is going to be in the same shot pattern. I did the math. It's $54,200. If you take the increased deductible for the number of enrolled and the out-of-pocket maximum, only the difference for those enrolled, you're shifting $54,000 to the employee. Add that to the $27 with that Anthem is saving, $7,500 difference on $1 million spent. So how high do you want to take? How much cost do you want to shift on the employees? That's the question.
I think that it would be very reasonable to at least receive proposals.
Here they are.
From 1,000, 2,000, 2,000, 4,000, similar to comparable other health plans that are out there. I do think that having a zero deductible and not even looking at anything that's more in line with most private entity work, and not even have something to compare against, and asking the council to vote, just my opinion. I don't think it's fair to the council to not be able to see alternative options. I think that if, from the private side of things and knowing what they cost with, say, my business, we're half that number on a 2,000 out of pocket. So to say that it's okay to spend $100,000 a year, $80,000 a year more, knowing that if we change the out of pocket and it actually saves the city money, I think we should at least be able to look at that.
I think it's arguable that private industry is different than non-private industry. They're different. I have the 4 largest employers in the city, a mile in each direction, 700 people total. Every single one of them is struggling with hiring. That's number one. But they're all much larger than the city. Every 50 life group that we deal with, they're all going to be in a similar shot pattern for comparable plans. I've just proven that to you. I've proven to you that the liability, I can give you whatever deductible you want. Just understand, you're shifting costs to the employees. These are the discussions you all have tasked the benefit committee that meets at a table right here, and we have the same circular discussion about benefits, and you've got 4 unions. It's a complex group in that it's 50 people with 4 unions, but the risk is the risk. You still have 5 high-cost claimants. Apostrophe was very competitive to the tune of almost $179,000, almost $200,000, until they got the reports on the 5 high-cost claimants. That's why Medical Mutual, who has had your group 2 of the years that we have had the city, declined quote this year. It's a risk profile. All I need you to do is tell me how much cost you want to shift to the employees. There's 100 plans. How high do you want to go? Then we'll come back, meet with the committee, see what kind of vote you get. They obviously voted on the 250, 500, and the cost shift onto them. I mean, they know higher deductibles than that means. All I need you to do is tell me what you wanna see, then we will present it to the committee, they will take a vote on it, and I'll be back here in 2 weeks with,
I think it'd be phenomenal to have a quote come back in 2 weeks for,
the case is already underwritten.
No.
The case has already been underwritten.
how can it be underwritten before council votes?
No. You can't get these proposals without the carriers looking at all these, we complete form fire, we send it out to the market, they come back with their numbers. Medical Mutual said we're not quoting, Anthem said here's our number, but we won't cap it next year. It's a $27,000 savings. But again, all it is shifting costs to the employees. When you do the math on the deductibles and the difference in the out-of-pocket, it's $54,000. 54 and 27, it's a $7,000.
Are you suggesting that 1,000, 2,000 would not be less expensive?
Oh, it'll absolutely be less expensive. But we're all reasonable thinking people here. Look, I'm just the messenger. And I'm telling, all the chief, you have the unfortunate, situation of being at all these meetings. You task them to do a task, they vote on it, they didn't vote for the, Anthem plan, they voted to stay with the United plan, even though it's gonna cost them more money too, because all it is a cost shift, you're just shifting dollars around. So.
It doesn't cost, in the scheme of things, it costs the city a whole lot more.
The employer portion is higher than the employee portion.
And it's hard to hire an employee anywhere right now with 3.5% unemployment. It has nothing to do with being government or private sector. You'll have that anywhere.
The biggest struggle we have with every employer in the region is hiring. So we had the trade schools at our last summit to feed our employers, to feed our clients.
Well, we put the burden on the employee. At some point, we're gonna have to reimburse the employee, you know. We're not gonna have a workforce. It's just that simple. I think, you know, your 0% is a fair way to go. I mean, that's just.
I don't think that even like our county government has a 0% deductible, do they?
I don't insure the county.
Do you insure any other government officers?
No.
So, do you insure many other companies that have 0 deductible for their employees?
No.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a matter of fair. It already is rich. You'd have to be able to agree with that.
It's a rich plan.
It's a very rich plan. So I just think that, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't consider it, but I don't think it's wise to spend $1 million without looking at an alternate. If you have 3 plans that are all the same 0 deductible, and one is your current vendor, it's going to be the lowest of those.
I don't think I'm articulating this,
Well, I understand exactly what you're saying.
yeah, so all I'm saying is, what do you want me to recommend to the benefits committee that they're gonna reject? Because it's not gonna be lower than Anthem. So, you know, I'm stuck in the middle here.
A 1,000, 2,000 wouldn't be lower than the Anthem?
It absolutely will be.
Right.
And then all I'm saying is, I think what this Councilman Sauter just mentioned is you're shifting, the money I just told you, look, if you just do the math, put single family by these, make whatever assumptions you want about who's gonna get what, just guess. It's not gonna be 54,000, I can tell you that. But you've got 50 employees on the plan, all of them are gonna end up taking some portion of this 54,000. Just reasonable, logical sense. So the question is, how much, you know, what do you want me to propose to the committee? Look, I think we're wasting time. I don't think they're gonna approve. If you're looking for them to vote, are you looking for them to vote on a higher deductible? Because I think the vote has already been taken.
I don't understand anywhere in our, legislation of the entire city that says that this council answers to that group.
Yeah. One of the things that, you know, and it's not your problem, Bob, it's your situation, but I think it's a legitimate point that we have nobody on council sitting in on any of these progressive meetings to give the city side. To say that there's a zero deductible, you know, I mean, that's like unheard of.
Unheard of.
It's totally and completely unheard of.
And
And I'll tell you what, I would totally agree. If you ask the employees, do you want to increase the deductible? I bet you know how they vote. I know exactly how they vote.
And the city kept the employees with a higher deductible all of those years before we made this switch 3 years ago. So it's not like, that in and of itself is a reason that employees will leave, because they already stayed.
I've got some questions here. You made a statement about $54,000.
Yeah.
Where's that number?
If you just take 17 singles and 33 families, and I added those up, if you just look at the United Healthcare quote, 17 singles and the rest total 33 families, multiply the deductible times that, and then the difference in the out-of-pocket maximum is $1,000 for a single person, $500 for a family. Make those same assumptions. Not every person is going to hit those limits, but when an underwriter looks at your case, they're saying, okay, we've capped our exposure on the deductible and co-insurance, and we have the out-of-pocket maximums we've increased, our liability is limited, and we're shifting up to $54,000 onto the members.
Do you have a rough idea if we were to do something like that, how much it would drop the cost?
No, every group is different, the medical conditions, the makeup. I wish there was a rule of thumb that a third year group hits it or what have you, but that's...
I mean, I would assume that if we were to increase the deductibles at some point in a future contract negotiation, the employees are gonna come back and say, well, you know, our healthcare is costing us more now than what it used to, therefore we wanted a better raise so that we can cover that cost. And so I'm not real sure where the trade-off is. I don't know right now exactly where all of that stands compared to, you know, what they can do on the outside world, if they were to leave the city employment and go to some other job someplace else. But I don't know that you actually have a case where, you can simply say, gee, we can save money here without it costing us money over here on the other side sometime later.
You'll never have that if you don't even know what the number would look
Well,
like.
I'll agree with that, Brian. I just think we need to.
You know, I want to make the comment about the deductible. There is no incentive for an employee not to seek medical care, you know. We don't have to worry about it. Our employees have no skin in the game.
Actually, Rick, it's called a copay plan. There's no deductible, but every time they step into the system, it's a copay.
Like, are you
The max out of pocket on this for a family is $4,500, correct?
Yep.
And does that fall in line with industry averages? Because I still think it's about 75% low.
Yes. I can tell you, employers right here in your own market, two of them offer triple options with as low as $250, $500, $500, $1,000, and then an HSA of $1,500, $3,000. They offer 3 options, and the employees pick whatever the options are, but they're much larger groups. So $250, $500 is not out of line. But, so there you have the cost for the $250, $500.
The bottom 4 lines on this chart.
Yes.
The United Healthcare and Anthem.
Yes.
Employee only.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference there. If I'm assuming this correctly, under United Healthcare, the employee is obligated to $825.
No.
It'll be a month, 15% of that.
Yeah, 15%.
So it costs them $100 a month, and then they're getting a yearly bill.
Those numbers are monthly costs.
It's going up $10.
Skip, those numbers are
Just
a monthly cost,
premium.
monthly premium. And then the employee would pay 15% of those numbers.
Okay, now if that's true, in every case, Anthem is lower.
That's correct, and the savings is $27,000. $904. I'm sorry, I misspoke. If you look over on the left, your current premium is $905,000.
Right.
Anthem is $933, it's an increase of $28,000, $27,904.
$70,000 less than this year's premium.
United Healthcare is increasing by $89,000 to $995, because that's the maximum that they could increase it.
And that's with a $250.
That's what I'm not understanding, is that Anthem is a $28,000 savings less,
It's a $60,000 savings.
and there's the other.
$61,000, the difference between United's renewal and Anthem's increase is $61,773. So it's a $61,000 savings if you move to the Anthem plan.
Right.
At $250,500, it would be greater yet if that was larger.
Now, not a year has gone by here where we haven't talked about next year. So, it'd be remiss if I didn't point out, United Healthcare came out of the gate with 29.9% increase, $263,000 they were looking for. And we went back and said, no, you agreed to cap it at 9.9% last year. So you're only getting $87,000. So all I'm telling you is, next year, even if you shift more costs to the employees and pay an additional $27,000, if the makeup and the medical conditions in the group don't change, you're going to be crossing that bridge again next year.
Unless you changed the deductibles.
Yep.
You're right.
Yep. You're going to be
But
crossing
we
this
weren't
bridge.
given any of those to look at.
The committee had all the proposals, and so let me back up. If you switch plans with United Healthcare, this difference, the 9.9% goes away. So you are going to be paying significantly more for a lesser plan with United Healthcare, because they no longer have to honor that 9.9% rate guarantee. Everybody with me? All the let's just say they offer 10 plans.
It's all hypothetical without looking at a number.
No, I can
It's all
tell you,
hypothetical.
no, United Healthcare will not honor.
This plan.
They've assessed the risk of your group that they need another $263,000. If I go back to them and say they want to go to a 1,000, 2,000, this 9.9% that you have, United Healthcare is, what I'm telling you is, if you don't renew this plan with United Healthcare, all your options across the board are going up.
Yeah, so Anthem is we already know is less than that option.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's at $250,500.
Okay.
So an Anthem plan at 1,000, 2,000 would be less yet.
Yes.
So why would me personally, I don't have a skin in the game, I don't get the insurance, why would I care, if that 10%, if I lost it? If it's gonna cost the taxpayers of this city $1 million instead of, say, $800,000, $150,000, $200,000 a year savings, why would I care that they're willing to lock that gold-plated insurance plan at 10%? Why would I care?
Anthem will not cap
No.
next year.
No.
Neither
United will?
No.
United will not
No,
cap.
they
This is their cap
This is their
for
cap.
the second year, 9.9%.
There's no cap coming up next year.
No.
We're not looking at a cap.
There's nothing different in these policies going forward. It's gonna be what it is next year.
Right.
If you stay with United.
It doesn't make any difference.
Well, yeah.
No matter
if
who
you
we
go
pick,
with-
there's no guarantee for next year.
I mean, this is a very difficult thing for me and Lance as an employee and as a finance director and a city manager. You know, because we're looking at both sides of the fence. We're on both sides. The Anthem plan, not only, it was a deductible, okay, the $250,500 is not bad, but there's other, if you gotta look at the other numbers, 80% of they're only gonna pay 80% of co-insurance, they're only gonna,
Who, Mike?
Anthem,
Anthem's only gonna pay.
And the
Right,
employees.
and then the ER would go from 300 to 350 plus 20%, and the prescriptions go up also.
But that would also help ensure that the annual expense doesn't go up proportionate, right? Because it would not be used for non-emergencies.
I mean, honestly, the Anthem plan sounds pretty much in alignment with what I'm getting at the school right now. So, when, you know, I'm comparing apples to oranges, I know that everybody thinks that my plan at the school is pretty darn good compared to what they get. So, I think that, you know, if we're gonna save the taxpayers dollars ultimately down the road, I don't see why, if I can live with a plan like that, I don't see why the rest of the cities can't live with a good plan like that.
You say it's hard for you and Lance because, the situation you're in, and I can appreciate that. But once council votes on this, then you're off the hook. It's us that are obligating the taxpayers' money. And I just think we need more data. We need to understand this a little bit more.
Here's where I'm confused. I'm sure that when you said United Healthcare said, okay, if we didn't have that deal at 9% cap, we would have increased it, boom. And I assume they made that decision because of our expenditures.
Exactly, they know
Well,
what
then
they
how,
approve.
okay, so Anthem could come in and give a lower number because of the benefit structure.
Yeah, it's not.
That's what we're talking about.
Number one,
Primarily.
it's not as good of a benefit structure, and number two, if they're that confident in these rates, why won't they cap them next year? Well, because they'll cross
No one-
that bridge
no one-
next year. United just did.
The next year,
No, they did because you pulled ahead, if you remember correctly. We used to renew in the spring. They gave you, they locked this rate because you got an extra year out of them, correct?
No,
And that's
that
why
was
we're doing it in
fine.
October instead of March, right?
No, these were two 12-month contracts.
But you came to council last year and changed this to October, right? I remember explicitly.
It did change, the ending date did
And that's
change.
why they gave us this cap. They said if we take that increase early, they would guarantee to only increase 10% now.
10%.
They made extra
For
money.
the next year.
They made extra money for the previous span of time because we upped it early. That's
4 or
why we're
5
renewing in
months.
October instead of March, or April, whatever.
I don't remember what it was,
I think
but
it was
look
May.
back.
But regardless, it's not like they capped out of the kindness of their heart. They capped because we paid 6 months early. We extended what you guys already received to do so. In all of these conversations, I just think it's a shame, and I've said it every year that I've sat up here, the council, for some reason, that you guys don't want a council member to be involved, but you want them to spend $1 million a year and not have any say in what you're presenting. I think it's crazy. And it's not to you guys, it's to you sitting up here suggesting to the council that there's no other options when there are, and suggesting that,
No,
that you
I
need to
never
take this
said
back to
that.
that group
I
instead
never
of this.
said that.
You said, what plan would you like me to present
That's
to,
right.
to that group and not this council? I'm suggesting you bring a number to council that
Wait a
shows
minute,
different.
we have never been told to bring quote, since 2013, we've never been told, we have never been told to bring quotes to council. This is what we wanna see. We've been told to work through the, benefits committee. We were first introduced to them 5 years ago because the plan was on fire. And
If you remember 5 years ago, the reason that we made a switch, because I asked for it. Do you remember that? Yeah. So, I mean, this is not something that isn't something that I'm passionate about. It's the only reason I'm taking this stand on it right now, because I think that things at this point are being taken advantage of. That we used to have a deductible that we got rid of when we made that switch because there was so much savings.
well, for you, are you suggesting that we're the ones taking advantage of the city? Is that what you're suggesting?
No, I'm suggesting that this entire process is taking advantage of this council
Okay.
by not giving them the information.
All I need is direction from Lance to tell me what to do, and you shall have it. That's it. I don't make this stuff up. We serve at his,
You actually right now are talking to the council who's
yeah,
gonna make this.
then all you need to do is tell me what you wanna see. Yeah, can't serve two masters. We've been working with the benefits committee for 6 years. I cannot serve two masters.
It's not you, Bob. I'm gonna say it's not you. We set up that system, and tonight we are looking at it as, you know, now, and nobody says once you have a system, you can't, is it written in stone somewhere? I mean, that's just my question to my fellow councilman. You know, I think we have to be concerned about the taxpayers.
We owe it to the citizens to make an informed decision. Like I said, when it all comes down, when this is all done, voted on and approved, benefits committee goes away, Ray goes away, Mike goes away, and if anybody wants to come back and say they paid too much, it's the council that made that decision. So I really think that we at least need to see some more information, how we got there, or why we got where we're at, rather than just,
Is there any
I
reason?
don't want to understand it.
Is there any reason that we couldn't, no different than some of your other plans, have multiple tiers, have a gold, silver, and bronze option, so to speak, of you want to pay for the gold plated, it's going to cost you X. You want to have
Every
savings account.
carrier is different, and it depends what your group size is, how many plans they'll let you offer, because ultimately they're cannibalizing their own risk.
And how long will it take to gather this information? And when will this plan run out? And who are the 5 people, okay, that seem to be causing?
Hold up, let me work through this a little bit. You can't ask the 5 people, but if there is an underlying thing that these same 5 people are taking advantage of it, okay, you focus in on that and find the why, and you take that out of the equation, okay? I mean, that's action and analysis, pure and simple. So if this runs out September 30th, we're up against the wall. Now, we have one more meeting,
When does this run out? I missed that.
September 30th.
So you'd be okay to bring another number. You have another meeting before that.
So bring the information, quit haggling about it right now, because we don't have it in front of us.
Well, but he's suggesting unless he's told to, he's not going to bring more information.
All I need is a direction from Lance or council president or whoever has to give the direction.
Well, you guys need to make that motion.
All right, can we see like a $1,000, $2,000 option?
Formalize that as a motion.
I'll make that a motion.
We do have a motion and a second on the floor right now, for the
Yeah.
ordinance as read.
Yeah.
We have to dispense with that
Maybe you
motion.
vote to
if that
table
was
this,
first.
Table the option? Or table the motion?
We have to table this motion. So you have to withdraw.
Okay, you have a table motion from the floor.
Yes, I made a motion.
There's already one on the
Well,
floor.
I'm trying to get straight which one you're talking about.
There's already a motion on the floor to vote on what was presented here tonight with the zero deductible, $100,000 a year increase. So you need to table that.
Yeah.
Request this, and you can turn around and redo it as first reading, just so that you've got it punted forwards, so that when you come back in 2 weeks, if you have that other number and you like it, you can vote to amend what you do tonight to a different number.
Well, you wouldn't do it as the first reading, do it as
We
the
could also
emergency.
do first reading of this now, then
Like-
second motion afterwards.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
But
we do either way, we don't have to table it, we can vote first reading on this now,
Yes.
and then make a second motion to get the additional data, and then have second reading on, with amendments or whatever, at the next meeting.
you with that? Roll call?
I'm voting on this motion.
You're Motion to
Accept?
Yeah.
Okay.
spend $90 grand more.
Liston,
No.
Bob,
No.
Miller,
Yes.
Becker,
No.
Souter,
Yes.
McBain,
Yes.
3-3, Mr. Mayor.
No.
Okay, so the first reading is.
First reading will fail, and then now you need to make a motion to see another number.
Well, I thought we needed the first reading so we could make a final action next.
No, if you fail on the first reading, you pass on the second.
It can still be back
I
on.
think.
The first reading failed, it will be
It'll be the
second
second
reading
reading.
at the
Okay.
next meeting.
Anchor.
So now someone needs to make a motion to see an alternate option.
Okay, let's bring that motion back to the floor then to see, $1,000, $2,000 option, something like that.
Is that the only option you want to look at? Should I just have a short discussion? I'm not against that.
That's fine, that's fine. I'll withdraw.
If you're gonna do it, maybe look at several, up to 1,500, 3.
How hard is it to look at several different options, Bob?
Could just take the underwriter a little more time to work on it.
Well, we got 2 weeks, we're looking at.
Tomorrow is Wednesday. I would say certainly by, I'm gonna look at my calendar.
See, all I'm saying is, Bob is an expert, and if we just tie him down to bring us back Plan A only, I'd like him to maybe give us some concepts of, now that he's heard our discussion. Maybe he's got some other plans we could look at. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next Tuesday, I mean, that's 5 working days if I turn it in tomorrow.
You're still, we have 2 weeks.
They already have
We have
the
2 weeks.
applications.
So that's fine.
We're gonna shoot for 5 days. It's obviously contingent on the underwriter doing it, getting it done rather. And we will, get those back. So let me describe exactly what you're gonna get back. Whatever options you decide on today, you're gonna get the current plan and the renewal plan at 9.9%. Then let's just say you want a 500, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000. You're gonna get those two from United. I suspect they're gonna be way out of sight because they now no longer have to honor 9.9%. So it's gonna be out of sight. If they wanted 263,000, even for those lesser plans, it's gonna be a big number. Then you're gonna get from Anthem, the 250, 500, 500, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000. So you're gonna have existing, because arguably, the United plan and the Anthem plan are the two best plans they offer. So what you're gonna get are 2 500, 1,000s, 2 1,000, 2,000s. Just clear? Gonna add those two
Those are the only
columns
two
on
companies
each
you
one.
work with?
Pardon?
No, Anthem.
Medical Mutual declined to quote.
Correct,
Did they decline to quote because it was a 0% deductible?
No, medical experience. They would not quote it based on medical experience.
If there's no, like Rick said, there's no ceiling or reason to not have medical experience, continue to have.
Could you do us a favor and talk a little bit, and I think this is important, on the RX options, I see the 10, 25, 45, first, explain what that is so we're all on the same page.
$10 for generic drug, $40 for formulary, meaning on the list for their brand. $70 if it's not on their list, not on their formulary. So every time someone walks in, they're paying 10, 25, or 45. You're gonna get whatever the carrier offers. You can't say, well, we wanna keep it at 10, 25, 45. No, this is what you're getting from Anthem.
Oh, they just have those standards.
They're RX 10, so this is, PPO option 1, and it says RX 13 or whatever. I don't know what the number is exactly. But you're gonna get, it's a fully insured product, it's filed and approved with the Department of Insurance, you get the product that they have. It's a shelf product.
Okay.
not like the self-funded products. And those are just co-pays the employees are gonna pay.
Right. My point being, you know, if we can get them to take as generic, that's what we want them to do. So
Sure.
we're trying to force them into that. And that top number on the non-formulary, we'd like to keep that as high as we can.
Mhm.
Try to force them to get into a
Back in the
formulary.
formulary.
And what about, an HSA? I mean, we didn't really touch on that much, but, I mean, I can only speak from my own experience, but my family has a max out-of-pocket of $3,000, but I have to pay up to the first $3,000. This plan that we're looking at tonight has a max out-of-pocket of $4,500, so it's actually more, right?
Mhm.
But the first X amount, you feel the sting a little bit more, because I gotta write the check whenever I go to the doctor. But over the course of a year, the max threshold is still only 3,000, but because there's more skin in the game, at the end of the day, it's usually less, right?
I'm gonna caution you all. First of all, I've had the exact same ID card in my wallet for 12 years. We have a 3,000, 6,000 HSA. Nothing gets paid until I pay $3,000 on me, or me and my wife pay $6,000. Nothing. I have no insurance coverage. I've had the same plan for 12 years. I know how to navigate the system. I know how HSAs work. You're talking about going from a 0 deductible to an HSA. You're just asking for trouble.
But you may have employees that want it.
You may, but then you have to make sure United will let you offer 2 plans, and so will
But
Anthem.
that's
And if we
your
fall
job,
below 50,
right?
it's up to them, but
I would just like to say, I think all those options now are things that we should look at, but we're not gonna do it this year. But
Right.
my recommendation, and I wanna emphasize that this is not about Bob.
No.
Bob did exactly what we told him to do. So I'm looking at this whole discussion as futuristically, and I think futuristically, we need to have somebody representing council at these discussions, so we don't come to a meeting and talk about a $90,000 increase to the taxpayer.
Well, I think another option too is to start earlier in the process and have council give direction to the committee on what it is
Correct.
we're looking for.
That's what I'm.
Yeah.
this process starts 105 days before your renewal. And I think that this is the second instance where we have been here with everything finished, tidied up, from a quote underwriting, get the numbers with what we were tasked to do. This is the second time where it hasn't been an emergency situation, because nobody likes to rush like that. But to have this done, I mean, on your desks a month in advance, it just doesn't happen.
No, I'm not talking about changing what you're doing. I'm talking about council being involved in the process.
I couldn't agree more.
From 105 days out.
I couldn't agree more, Councilman.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
We need to have a discussion 105 days out or 120 days out to say, here's the direction we would like to see things go. Work this direction instead of that direction.
Couldn't agree more.
I mean, know what direction you want to go, then you
Back
can
and
see
forth.
numbers.
It's not good for either side.
And that's
Now,
what we told you.
someone has to explain to the committee why, and it's not gonna be me.
I'm sure they'll read about it tomorrow.
Someone has to explain to the committee why it wasn't approved, and it's not gonna be me. It's not my place to do that. We're tasked with putting the intermediary between the carriers and you, the client. Everyone's sitting at this, council meeting, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. So do you wanna see an HSA, or do you not wanna see an
Won't you
HSA?
deserve to see?
Okay, it could take more time, I don't know, but can't
Our
be
next
that.
meeting is in 2 weeks, and if worst came to worst, we could always have a special meeting.
I don't think it's gonna come to that. I don't think it's gonna come to that,
I think you wanna see a lot
Last week.
compared to back then. An HSA is gonna be completely different. The number is way.
Yeah, the next meeting's the 18th, but he said if there needed to be another one, we could have another one.
My HSA is actually less out of pocket than that, which is, you don't feel it.
The other thing I'm gonna mention to you from a practical standpoint, when we switched to an HSA 12 years ago, our premium cut in half. And Mayor, the only reason I say this is, I heard you say that HSA is gonna be half. It might not be, and I'm gonna tell you why right now. because I can tell you that the premium differential between the HSAs and the PPOs are very close, and here's why. The only thing that the carrier looks at is the out-of-pocket maximum.
Right.
What is our worst-case scenario? So if a 3,000, 6,000, a 1,500, 3,000 HSA could be equal to this great PPO plan, because it's 2,500, 5,000. And it's only 1,500, 3,000 instead of 2,500, 5,000.
The difference is you actually have to say, yeah, I wanna go today to the hospital, I'm willing to pay that $300 or $500
Yeah.
out of pocket.
I love it. Nobody likes HSAs better than me. That's why I've had one for 12 years.
Not me right now.
Your employees are gonna hate it every single day. If you do it right out of the gate. If you do it right out of the gate, they're not gonna be happy because, as you know, Mayor, it takes time to ease into that and how they operate. It's a completely different system of.
It didn't take any time to ease into the zero deductible though.
Okay, so we still need a motion then?
Yes. I think you should, I mean, you got a 255, you should probably see a 500, 1,000, a 1,000, 2,000. How many, I mean, I don't wanna burden you, but then an HSA just so that you can see it.
Yeah.
If that's a 1,500, 3.
Mm-hmm.
What's your motion? Okay, well, let's make a motion that we see a plan that says, 500, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000, in the HSA.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any comment? Roll call?
Huh?
Yes.
Milner,
Yes.
Becker,
Yes.
Souter,
Yes.
McBain,
Yes.
Liston,
Yes.
Now, as soon as I get that spreadsheet, where am I supposed to send it? Lance,
Lance.
and then don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Should we-
you
benefits
talk all the
committee?
land, yeah.
Yeah, he'll get it, he'll put it in the council package.
And, I'll leave it to him to decide what to do with the city's benefits committee. It'll be.
Well, I think the city benefits committee made the recommendation.
Yep, correct.
I think you're gonna have to tell them about it, those are union contractual obligations. And then if it's
Well, we got issues.
Now, if we go back to United Healthcare with another proposal, our 9% or our 10%, if we renew what we have, our 10% cap is still on the table.
That's correct, Councilman. But if you take a different United plan, so what I've kind of asked the
Right.
underwriter to do, and I don't want to get too far in the weeds here, but what I have to tell them is, this table of 29.9%, I need to see your 500, 1,000, 1,000, 2,000 HSA off of what you said here, because this will be off the table. They're looking for over $250,000.
If we change.
Yes. So United's gonna be out of line, and you're gonna say, well, how can that be? They were at 9.9 for the zero, and these are so much higher. Why is that? That's why.
Because we held it better.
Yes, you nailed it. That's exactly, they're gonna be a little out of line.
But asking them to do that will not remove the.
Nope, absolutely not.
Okay.
No, they cannot remove the 9.9% option. They
For the
cannot.
current year.
They cannot.
Can you, when you go back again, can you also ask them if they can cap next year?
Yes.
What that cap might be?
Yeah, and I already have from Anthem, they won't, I should like to know, they will not make any caps for next year whatsoever.
Well, maybe since we're going back to,
Yeah, if they read this, they may change their mind.
a lot of, in my mind, a lot of this too is how bad do they want our business? I mean, there's a negotiation going on here.
If we were General Motors,
Well,
it'd be a lot more.
well, I-
Yeah, we have a little more leverage.
I so they may not wanna get rich on us.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions anybody has? I'll give you exactly what you asked for, it'll be in that
Can we vote on
format,
the second motion?
and I'll glance quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, we voted.
Thanks, Bob.
Sure.
Thank you.
Till after it kicks in.
The last thing.
Yeah.
You wanna take this up?
Sure.
Go ahead.
We have a letter dated September fourth, just for city council members. In case I'm unable to get to council before the meeting adjourns, I'm asking for permission to hold third annual pumpkin pie 5K on Saturday, October seventh, 2018. The race starts and finishes at Columbiana High School, uses, an out and back course. Only the intersection involved in the city is where the participants exit school parking lot and turn left into the city, onto Columbiana Walker Road. Our police department is aware of the event and has not expressed any issues to myself. We will be sure to show proof of insurance to the company, to the city. The race starts at 8 a.m. with registration beginning at 6:30. Last runner should be off the street, portion of the course within an hour. Our goal is to have 75 runners this year. We are hosting a pancake breakfast that day from 9:30 to 1 p.m. at the high school, and all are welcome to attend. The price is $8 per person. Thank you, Crystal Sabita Boggs, Sabita and Boggs Philanthropic Foundation. And I think Crystal probably wants us to, I guess I will make a motion that we, approve the race.
I'll second that.
Who does this race benefit?
Mostly this race ends up benefiting the cross-country team. Depends on if we have any money left over afterwards. But, that's the team that's essentially putting it on. They volunteer, they work the pancake breakfast immediately afterwards. And, yeah, it's really for them.
Okay. And Chief, you're good with this?
I mean, it's the same as, every other year. I don't know if you've talked to Kevin or not this year, but if he's okay with it. The main thing is it's becoming staffing because we're just very.
Yeah, it's just the one intersection that you guys end up having to work.
Okay, he told you that was good.
Yep. Yep.
No, then we don't have any problem.
He reminded me that I needed to come here, actually.
But now, if I enter this race, you're not gonna have people off that course in the time you're saying.
It takes the average person about 15 minutes to walk a mile, so that gives you get a whole hour.
I'm very average.
And there's pumpkin pie at the end when you finish.
There's no tendency, you can't vote that.
You better put pumpkin pie and beer. You play it.
I can't have beer.
That's 5K. Any other comment? Roll call?
Noah?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Howard?
Yes.
Green?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Bob? Abstain.
Any public comments this evening? Did you want to address?
Yeah.
If you want to, just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Peggy Richmond. I live at 13313 Cedar Springfield Road in Springfield. However, I'm here representing Jamie Edgerton and Pause on Main. Business stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. We would like to have an organized dog walk. It would not involve closing any streets. We are doing it to coincide with the AKC Good Dog Behavior, Canine Good Behavior Week. And we would have a benefit to All Paws Are Perfect. It's a local rescue that specializes in dogs that have medical problems, finding them homes, getting them care so that they are healthy enough to move into a home. We don't expect it to be particularly large. We do want to do a staggered start where there would be 1 or 2 people or 3 people with their dogs. They would walk a organized course where they would stop and at the red light do a sit cross at the appropriate time. So it would be, you know, it's gonna be based on
Just using the sidewalks.
using sidewalks, yes.
Do you know a map of where?
I have not had an opportunity yet to, I know I was thinking up to West Friends and down. We eventually want to get to Ace Hardware, and to the park, and then up to Dr. Lisa, the chiropractor.
How big of a thing do you think it's gonna be?
I can imagine that we may, if we're fortunate, have 30 people and within, but it's an hour staggered start, so they would not all be moving at the same time. So we're talking like every 5 minutes, 2 or 3 people with their dogs would begin the walk. We would, you know, wait 5 minutes or so, and then.
Yeah, big dog pulling everybody else.
Well, but see, that's the point, we would want you to try to get them to walk appropriately. So, that's basically, you know, where we're at. I did speak to the park, council last week, and they did ask that we change it to a 1 o'clock start rather than a 9:30 start, because they have a football game in the morning, and we may walk through a portion of the park. September 22nd.
Unless you're really not closing any street there to really do anything though.
There's more public awareness that it's going on. That's addressing it.
Well, no, what I meant was, I don't think this would involve like auxiliary or anything.
Does it involve the police at all?
So it sounds to me like it would, you know, I don't know.
We're not asking for any special, you know, care or, you know.
It doesn't sound to me like it would involve them.
Yeah.
There may be a couple of places where there is no sidewalk on some of the streets you're talking about, but
Okay.
for the most part, you know, I'm just thinking about how you get up to Ace from, like, say, the park. There's a small section on, whatever street that is, that doesn't have sidewalks from the park to the, Court Street, yeah.
Well, even if we would you prefer that we backtrack and stay on sidewalks?
I
Because
don't
that's
think
a possibility
I
as
walk
well.
it every day, and it generally isn't a big deal.
Okay, all right.
It's not that big a deal. I mean, what you could do is you could walk through the park, come, back out of the park, back up Park Avenue.
Well, that's what we had anticipated, come at Park Avenue, finding a safe crossing area so they could get to Dr. Lisa, the chiropractor, who's on the opposite side, I believe.
Right, it'd
of
probably be
the
better
park.
to cross closer to the park than to the
Yeah, and then they would end up back at Columbiana Main.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help, I'd be happy to help if I can, but,
Okay.
since I walk all those streets almost every day.
Well, that's my hope Thursday, is to do some of that walking and see, you know, what would be our best, you know, I could even ask, you know, the police department what they might suggest, you know, as far as.
We wouldn't have any input, we would,
Okay,
if it
that's
doesn't
fine.
involve us, we'd understand.
Okay, that's fine, I have no problem, I just, we wanna be accommodating, we wanna be safe, and, my question started.
Well, we'd be glad to help you if you have questions or something
Okay.
else, or like Mr. McBain just said, we're glad to help you there, and we probably know some of the safer crossing points that we can offer you.
Okay.
Give me a call.
Is there an insurance concern on this? You know,
We will be asking liability waivers to be signed, because, I mean, it's basically people walking their own dogs, but just, you know, that's not a good idea.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see the waivers,
Okay,
if you could get them to Lance, city manager.
okay,
And he could actually get it to me so I could just take a look at it.
okay. Is there any place I should look for one that's appropriate, or just, I mean, I've seen them done, I just,
See what, I'm not trying to make this difficult for you.
No, that's
See what
fine.
you can come up with. If there's language I think needs to be in it, then I'll be happy to make
Okay.
those recommendations.
All right.
So the sooner Lance gets it, like
Okay.
during the week, that'd be great.
all right, very good. And I can bring that here to,
Just doing the main.
this is all new to me, so I'm trying to.
If you bring it to the counter,
Yeah.
and the
Okay,
your
all
office
right,
here.
very good, all right.
Is it something the council needs to vote on? Is it just using sidewalks?
I don't think,
I don't know.
as I'm sitting here,
we're not.
You're not using any city services, I don't think we need to vote.
Well, we didn't want to just assume that this was, you know, something we can do without at least making you all aware of what we were thinking of doing and, you know.
Appreciate
We
it.
want,
And, you know, if it grows, at some point you may have to.
you know, yeah, I was gonna say, my hope is, you know, this is kind of a beginning stepping stone, but to be a better organized and, you know, to do it better next
The
year.
only caveat I would offer is make sure whatever route we choose is not another event.
Well, that was my other concern, that we wouldn't, you know, be disrupting something else that y'all had planned, so. All right, then I'll get a waiver form in and, I'll get a map drawn up so that you're at least aware of exactly what we're doing. And the other thing we are gonna do is ask any of the businesses if they wanna put a little, we're doing backpack, if they wanna put a little ad in to support the downtown shopping areas, to make some of these people aware of, you know, our bakeries and our coffee shops and our restaurants. We're hoping maybe some of that might happen too.
Good.
All right?
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
I can give you this if you.
Thank you. Okay, very good, thank you.
Anyone else? No, we'll move into council comment. Comment?
Yeah, I just, I know they're not here to be recognized, but I just wanna thank our EMS for coming out tonight to our cross country meet. I know that it's hot and, watching prior, races last week in the heat, I know a lot of other locations did not have on-site EMS and there were lots of ambulances being called out to those locations. We were fortunate, we didn't have any incidents where we, needed that ambulance there, but they were there and it's much appreciated because you don't get that everywhere you go. So that gets out to where it's people.
Any other comment? Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.